Welcome to our Amud Yom Shir, Shabbos Mem Amud Beis. Thank you to those who came here, those on Zoom, Torah Anytime. I know we're not on Torah Anytime, we're in YouTube for this one. So today's topic is cooking on Shabbos. If I'd have to give a title, it's about cooking things that are not edible for, let's say, for washing, or cooking or heating liquids as opposed to solids. Yeah, it's about these kind of cooking and before we begin, I'd like to give two small introductions. First of all, the previous sugya which we did yesterday is that hopefully you did. There is a gzera de Rabbanon that even if someone heated water before Shabbos, water that was heated before Shabbos should not be used to be washed with to take a bath on Shabbos. Why? Because the balonim, the mikveh or Beis Samechat, the bathhouse attendants, they would lie. They would not be big tzaddikim. They were, bala avera, it says, and they would cook, and they would not. You wouldn't call it cooking in modern language, but they would heat. They would heat the water on Shabbos, and they would lie, and they said that they did it before Shabbos, and then people would come and wash and bathe. So because of that, Chachamim basically forbade bathing on Shabbos. Later on, Chachamim intensified the gzera. They said don't even go there to schwitz, don't go there for sauna, to go into the Beit HaMerchatz. Don't even pass through there either b'chavana, maybe some rishon without chavana, because when you go in there and you schwitz, then people would go into the Beit HaMerchatz, close the door, and they would say, we were only schwitzing, and no, they would really wash. Right? So that's again, Chachamim saw that they're fighting against. So eventually, Chachamim answered washing and also schwitzing, and Chachamim only allowed Chamit Tveria. Chamit Tveria, not with a not with a pipe, but that questionable pipe that they answered that already broke. It says, but Lamaisa, the Tveria people gave up and they broke that pipe. It didn't. I mean, halachically, it was a problem of Hatzmono. But other than that, you can wash in a natural spa on Shabbos. I mean, again, it's not halacha here, but that's what sounds like from the Gemara, because Chachamim saw that it's too much to ask people from washing on Shabbos, from bathing on Shabbos in any kind of merchatz. So if the merchatz is heated by Chamit Tveria, it's a natural spa, then it's allowed. Otherwise, both washing and sweating, schwitzing on Shabbos in the Beis HaMerchatz is also even was heated before. And now, let's continue. Let's now mem omud beis, top of the page, continuing on the same idea. Abatiyos shel krochim, the bathhouses of the big cities. Yeah, in a big city, a big town, a big city, such places metayel behen ve'en choshesh, which means you're allowed to walk into the bathhouse of a big city and just walk in and out as if you're on a tiul. You just walk in there, walk around, look at the towels. You do it as if you're not dafka going there for schwitzing, although you're inadvertently are schwitzing because it's hot. Why? Yeah, why is that okay? Omarove says Rove davka krochin. Only the big cities you're allowed to. Aval the kforim loy. The schwitz places or the Beis HaMerchatz, the bathhouse of the small places of the villages, you're not even allowed to go into at all. Yeah, even if you're not schwitzing b'chavona. My time, why? Given the zutrin nafish avlayu, which means because the difference is size does matter. In other words, when you talk about the big city, the merchatz is also bigger, like Shevet HaLevi. Oh, gesunte place, Rachves, yeah, Shevet HaLevi, right? It's a big Beis HaMerchatz, and therefore it's not so condensed, the vapor, and therefore there's no psik reisha. You walk in and out, you maybe enjoy it a little bit, but lamaisa, it's not inadvertent, it's not muchach that you'll be schwitzing mamish. But you will or you won't, a little bit, not so significant. A sheikh in a small village, to go in and out, you are schwitzing, whether you like it or not. And the gzer was so severe that even in the psik reisha of this situation of schwitzing, they also asked it. That's how some people explain. Now let's continue. Tonu Rabbanon. Here, as I said again, this is one of the very important dapim on Bishul. We'll have to see some Tosfosim, and I'm telling you now, I'm not as prepared as I'd like to be. But Bezos Hashem. Tonu Rabbanon. Mischamim. Now, is there another way to take a hot shower on Shabbos? Maybe some kind of trick we're going to play over here. Mischamim odom keneged ha medura. A person may heat himself keneged ha medura. A person may, sit in front of the fireplace, and just warm himself up, right? So now his body is actually warmer, is hot. I mean, it's not burning, but is as hot as it can be. V'yoytze gets out of the fireplace area, and then he washes himself, like he showers himself with cold water, and that is okay. That's okay. The Meiri says that your body is never going to get really hot by anyways, right? Because you're not going to burn yourself. So when you have a cold shower over like a very warm body, that is still okay. Yeah. In other words, there is no gzera also of washing on Shabbos with hot water. That situation of first heating my body and then washing myself with cold, that kind of crazy way of doing it is okay. It doesn't fall under that category. Okay, that is still okay. Yeah, ubilvad. However, what aren't you allowed to do? Oh, this is considered. I don't remember who says it, but I saw someone who says that's more of a normal derech. If you wash yourself with cold water, people do that. Cold shower, they say it's healthy for all kinds of things. You take a cold shower and then you warm yourself up keneged the medura, then you are cooking the water. Now, you're not mafshir, you're thawing, you're like warming up the water that you still have droplets of water all over you, or even rivulets of water. And then when you have the fireplace against you, that is a problem of what? Well, it's not bishul, says Tosfos. Look at the first Tosfos. The first Tosfos says, yeah, bekitzer, doime kerochetz v'mayim chamin v'yovel lachem chamin lirchotz gufoim. Which means it's the end of the first Tosfos that the beginning has to do later. In other words, that's a normal way to take a cold shower and then quickly warm myself up afterwards. That is considered normal enough, and it's similar to washing with hot water. And if I wash myself this way, yeah, cold shower, and then I'm like cooking, so to speak, the hot water that's on me, even though I'm only mafshir. Mafshir is not hot. You're not kosher in Hebrew. Lukewarm. You know that? Yeah. Lafshir is lukewarm. Yeah. So even though the water is not fully hot, it's still a problem because it's similar to washing with hot water. And if I do it now, eventually I may come to mamish take a hot shower, even if water was heated before Shabbos, and that's a big problem. Yeah. Yovel hachim chamin, or maybe it's gzera atu doraisa. You may come to maybe even heat the water on Shabbos, which was really the original gzera, where they didn't allow hot bath on Shabbos to begin with, because they would heat the water on Shabbos. And because of that, they made the gzera. Yeah, they made the gzera. Don't do that trick. But shaking the other way is okay. The other way is less normal, as far as I remember from somewhere. So not goizer. In other words, to warm myself up and then come in front of the fireplace. No, the other way around. And then to warm myself up and then take a shower. That they're not goizer. That farther didn't go. What? I think it's lo shchich. I'm not sure. As I said, I'm not 1,000,000% sure, but that's where I remember from somewhere. I may be wrong, but these are the facts. Okay, weiter. Okay, Tono Bonon. Oh, here comes another one. We're going to see 3 different reasons for the Issa we're about to see now. And this sugya has to do with a hot water bottle. Are you allowed to use the hot water bottle, bakbuk ham on Shabbos? You know, some people use it for the tummy or to feel good, or they're sick, so they use, like a closed bottle from rubber, right? And they have the hot water in there. Is that allowed or not on Shabbos? Tono Bonon. Let's see. Meicham odom aluntis umenichal b'nei me'ayin b'Shabbos. Let's assume now aluntis Rashi has 2 pshatim. The pasuk pshat of aluntis is a towel. You're allowed to heat up a towel, yeah, a towel called aluntis, and place it on your b'nei me'ayin. In other words, a person has a stomachache, a stomach bug, whatever he feels, stomachache. He wants to put something hot, something warm, such as a warm towel, which may be dry, on top of his stomach. So that should be okay. That's fine. Okay. Mechamim melokli or beged, you put something hot on your stomach, and that's okay. And there's no concern of refuah. We all know you're not allowed to do refuah on Shabbos, and that is from some reason not refuah. We're going to see soon. Yen Tosfos. Ubilvad, providing shelo yovi kumkumus shel mayim chamin v'yanichenu al bnei me'ayin b'Shabbos. Yeah, you're not allowed to take a hot water kettle and put that. Now there are 2 pshatim. Either don't put the hot water kettle straight on your stomach, yeah, I mean, not in a way that's burning, or on top of the towel. Don't do that. Why? We're going to see in Rashi soon. Continues the Gemara, Even during the week, you shouldn't do it because hot water bottle may open and then it's going to spill all over the stomach. Chas v'sholom, it's sakona. Look at Rashi. Rashi says, "Bilvad shelo yavu kumkum." Yeah. Rashi says, "Shemei shofcho lo v'nimtza roichetz v'shabes v'chamin." In other words, there is a chashash that if the hot water, even if they're not steaming hot and then it's not sakana, they're nice and warm. But if it opens by mistake, the hot water bottle or the thermos flask you have, you're ending up as washing on Shabbos with hot water, and that's also. The Ritva argues on that. The Ritva says it's like too far-fetched. Before the Ritva, let's see Toisves. Look at Toisves. Bilvad shelo v'kumkumu, says Toisves, Pirush. Kozman shaluntis sham, shema yiplu amayim al aluntis v'osil de schita. That's the same as the Ritva. In other words, says Toisves, as I told you, it's not about the hot water bottle itself that may open and may spill. The Ritva says it's very far-fetched. The whole thing is a gzera, the rabbanon, and a little bit of water. Come on. He doesn't buy Rashi's pshat. And the Ritva is like saying, no, it's not a hot water bottle straight on the stomach, on your bare stomach. It's on top of the towel. The chashashis may spill on the towel, and you're okay with that. You want it to spill on the towel, not on you, but that's schita. Very easily you're coming to squeeze, right? To wring it, and that's also because of schita on Shabbos, right? Melabim. So that's inami. Third reason, lo yovi mishum refuah. You're not allowed to, as I told you before, we all know a refuah on Shabbos is not allowed unless the person is, cholishesh b'sakon, even cholishein b'sakon, but he can't function. If a person's stomach has aches and pains, he's not allowed to actually cure himself, to heal himself on Shabbos. He may come to do shchika, to grind, the samimonim, the medications, and therefore, if you actually take the towel with the kumkum on top of it, that is refuah. The Gozl says, excuse me, what about the first case? We said that aluntis alone, if I have a hot aluntis on the towel, that's okay. Why is that okay? Says Tosfos, it doesn't look so much like refuah. Question is, who cares about how it looks? There's a very, very well-known Yesoid in Shmona Shotzim, the perek that talks about refuah. Over there, I'll ask you a question. Are you allowed to eat healthy food on Shabbos? My dietitian told me I have to eat 7 vegetables a day. Yeah, whatever. Some people that drink Coke, it's very unhealthy Coke because they have a stomach ache. Maybe don't drink Coke on Shabbos. Don't eat vegetables on Shabbos. Lettuce, it's healthy. Obviously not. Why? Only a Michael Brim, something that normal people who are healthy also eat, you're allowed to eat it on Shabbos, even though you eat it for medicinal reasons only, for medical reasons. You hate lettuce, but the doctor tells you have to eat lettuce. But it's normal to eat lettuce, that's okay. But to take the Ekemal and the aspirin in Shabbos, you can take. Healthy people usually don't do that. That's the answer. To put a hot towel, that looks normal, nice. It's just yummy, cuddly, cutesy kind of thing. And I feel, I have a stomach ache. Okay, nobody has to know. It doesn't look that way. Mashe'en can, when you start the whole thing, a kumkum on top of a towel, that's too out of the way. That seems like doing it not for fun. You're doing it for a food, and that's also. The hot water bottle is really, I don't know the halacha, but there's a question about it. If you want to use it, if you have a stomach ache, you want to use the bakbuk cham, so ask your local Orthodox rabbi, because apparently it's a machloikis, that different dodim. We're just touching this from the Gemara. Yes, that's very good. That's exactly one of the questions of the Ritva and Rashi. That's a whole goof and not just part of it. True. I hear. I don't know how to answer Rashi. Very good point. Tono abonon. Good. I can see you're learning in the weekends. Tono abonon. Oh, now, here comes a big issue. So, small introduction. I told you 2 introductions. Here comes the second one. I feel very, very bad that I'm not prepared enough, because this is really the the kishkis of bishul. I apologize. But lemaise, I'll tell you one thing about bishul. We're going to learn about bishul of liquids. And we all know that the definition of bishul by solids is when you make something softer. Besides an egg, you make it harder, but you change the texture of something through the fire of the heat. That's a normal hagdara. It doesn't have to be edible, could also be metal. Yeah, you melt it, you change the texture. Now with water, that's not so simple. Because the water, hot water and cold water are not the same, but they're not solid or liquid. Didn't solidify them or liquid it, right? They're more or less the same, they're as liquidy as before. So water and oil are going to be now the stars of the show. So water, when you have the Igletal defines water, why is cooking water? But the Rambam says, I'm sorry, I'm running. The Rambam, before the Iglita, the Stochot over, the Rambam says, a mivashel, oichlim something, v'amichamim isamayim. There's no mivashel mayim. Mivashel means to change the quality by making the potato, the whatever that is, yeah, softer, the bread harder, etc. Water, you're not mivashel, you're not changing the texture. What are you doing? You're mechamim. Hot water has a different purpose. You want a real good tea, good polish tea, you need really hot water, right? Not cold. For that purpose, you're improving the water. But the improvement is less clear. That's also why water, once water is cold again, after it was hot, now it's cold again, yesh bishul achar bishul, according to most opinions. Shaken by the cold potato, cold piece of meat, in bishul achar bishul, if there's no liquid, right? That's the reason. Because the improvement took place already. When shaken by water, the heat is the improvement. Once it's back to being cold, it doesn't make a difference. Maybe it's I'm not talking science now. I'm talking culinary. So there's the difference between water and oil and solids, as opposed to solids. And now there's also a difference between water and oil themselves. That's also a difference, as we're going to see now. That's just a general idea. Tono Rabbanon, Mevi Odom Kitoin Maim, Umenicho Keneged Medura. A person may place a kitoin like a jug of water, and he wants to place it, and he may Menicho Keneged Medura. He may place it, Keneged means facing the Medura, not too close. You may put it in the Medura, but not too close. Lo bishvil shichamu. Don't put it there until the water gets hot. Notice the language. It doesn't say isbashlu, yichamu, like the Rambam. In other words, don't leave it there long enough for the water to really get hot, whatever that means. However hot is hot, yatzoledes, maybe other, yeah. Don't leave it that far, that much. Ela bishvil shitafik tzinoson. Yeah, Rashi says b'miktzas. You're allowed to leave it there only enough time for the water to basically not be super cold. Yeah, you want your cold water from the fridge, from the freezer to from the fridge to hot, to warm up a little bit. To warm up is okay. That's what the Nakama says. So the tzina, the cold should like go away. Tafig. Yeah, should expire. That's what we say allowed to do. There's actually machloikes if you're allowed to leave it in a place where it will eventually cook. Are you allowed to run the risk or not? Is also machlokas la'alocha, right? Too close, you're not allowed to, or on top of it, because that's like shehiyah. But if it's far, it's not shehiyah, not mamish somuch. You're putting it far, but does it have to be far enough that you can never ever get to the heating point? Or are you allowed to put it in a place where it can get hot as long as you're quick enough to remove it? That's a shaila. Now, but in any event, you're not allowed to be mechamem to heat up the water on Shabbos, meaning that bishul applies to water. You should realize the fact that bishul applies to liquids is a chiddush. As I told you, because they don't get softer or harder. The Tanakh says, yes, don't do that. You're allowed to maybe run the risk up to a point. Make sure you leave you jump off the train on time. Make sure that you take the water away from the fire before they get really hot, before they get to the point of no return, of too hot. Okay, that's Tanakh. Rabbi Yehuda says, Mevia ishopach shel shemen. Rabbi Yehuda is now all of a sudden talking about oil. A woman may bring a pach shel shemen, pach shemen like Chanukah, yeah, a pach shemen, a jug of oil, yeah, umenichoso. 1 second, excuse me. You may place a pach shel shemen, a jug of oil, also facing the medua, the fire. Lo b'shvil shivashel. Notice, by oil it says yivashel. Oil sounds like there's more of a change. Yeah, not in other. Don't leave it long enough so the oil may cook. Only enough for the oil to just get a little bit warmer, like posher, lukewarm, but not really cooked. That's the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda. It looks like they're not talking about the same thing. The Nakama says that bishul applies to water, and Rabbi Yehuda says that it applies to oil. Okay. A woman may, yes, cook the oil, but in a strange way, b'shinui. She may smear her hand with oil, right? By the way, the oil is very soft. It's okay. It's very runny. It's not a cream. And b'chamamta keneged medura, she places her hand against the fire. V'sacha lebna koton ben chosheshes. She wants to have warm oil. She should only do that b'shinui. She should only do it in a strange way b'shinu, which on Shabbos some things are allowed, which is by smearing the oil on her hand. Then make sure that it gets hot, b'shinui, and then she smears it on her child who needs warm oil ein chosheshes. Everything will be explained. This brisa is just the beginning. We're going to have different explanations about the brisa. Okay, Tanakama says no water. Then the second opinion of Buddha says no oil. Rashbag says something interesting. You may cook oil only b'shinui. Everything will be a promise. Ibailu, frek the Gemara. First of all, it looks like they're like cross talking. Tanakama spoke about water, and Buddha spoke about oil. So zog the Gemara ibailu. There's a question now. Shemin mahula Tanakama. What would Tanakama say about oil? Tanakama says that bishul applies to water even though it's liquid. What would they say about oil? Would they agree to Rabbi Yehuda that bishul applies to oil or no? Machlokes amaroyim. Rabbi and Rabbi Yosef damrit avayu lehetera. Rabbi and Rabbi Yosef, both of them say that Tanakama would allow you to cook oil. In other words, says Rashi very strongly, even Yad Soledis by oil cooking doesn't apply. It only applies by water, not by oil. I don't understand. I feel I'm ashamed because I learned the Sugi Be'iyun and I don't remember much now. I do remember, and I went over a little bit the Igle Tal today. I remember him saying something like that the difference is that water bitul applies to because the water that you want for your tea or your coffee, whatever you need, or maybe for cooking things with, the cold water vis-a-vis the boiling water are completely useless. You want to cook something, you can't do it with cold water, or coffee with cold water. It just doesn't work bichlal. So the change is so significant, it's called bishul. By the oil, it's not true. By the oil, even though you want hot oil, the cold oil is as good, which begs the question, I don't understand. If you want to fry an egg, then of course the cold oil is not good. So I don't understand it. I don't want to tell you stam shtuyot, but I don't know. But that's what he says. Right. Right. Unless lakir rubbing, exactly. If you want warm oil for rubbing or for feel good or something, then the cold oil is more or less the same. Right. I hear what you're saying. Right. And maybe the oil is less commonly used when it's hot. Oil used also for salad, for things like that. Mashake and hot water is used a lot. Maybe. Yeah, we're trying to figure it out. I apologize. But that's, something like that. Yeah. Steam. Could be, but even before steam, it's also even before steam. But you're saying scientifically, it's more different. Could be. I hear. Maybe, could very well be. Could very well be. Now, however, Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak Omar leisura. Rav Nachman Yitzchak says no, just the other way around. That leisura, which means that they really believe that it does apply, meaning that bishul applies to both water and oil. Yeah, and then Rabbi Yehuda said only oil. So now let's see. Again, the Gemara is elaborating more. You were just explaining now more, even deeper. Rabbi and Rabbi Yosef say they both. Rabbi and Yosef explained Tanakama to allow oil, meaning shemen afal pi shayad soledes boy. You have oil where yad soledes boy. I have an answer now, by the way. Afal pi shayad soledes boy. Even if it got to the point of it's yad soledes that that the hand like retrieve. How do you call it? Retracts. No, retracts like that. So that's allowed. Why muter? Because Sava Tanakama shemen and b'mishul bishul. My memory comes back to me from I think 30 years ago that a shemen which is like you said, shemen which is yad soledes boy is not the boiling hot shemen. Shemen yad soledes boy. Ask your wife. I don't think you can fry with it. To fry with oil, it has to be mamish bubbling more than yad soledes. Yad soledes is not 100 degrees; it's 40 something. Yeah. So it could be shemen, according to this opinion. The difference between below and beyond yad soledes is really not that significant. The shaken water of yad soledes boy is already as different. It's already something more. The difference is more significant for whichever use. Or maybe your tea or coffee, maybe it's already good enough. Something 40 something degrees. I think that could be a reason. Which means some people say I think that shemen lekulam, if it's boiling or bubbling, then it would apply. But that's not the story over here. That could be an answer. I remember it from somewhere. Now, I know, but it says afal pishat soledes boy. Afal pishat soledes boy. So it could be once it's reticha bubbling, maybe then it's different. Although I hear what you're saying, but okay. V'oso b'yudol meimah comes now Rabbi Yehuda to say shemen yesh b'mishum bishul. However, ve'efshero lo zeu bishuloi. Says Rabbi Yehuda, I'm more machmir than you, and I think that shemen is bishul, meaning yad soledes boy, but hefsher to make it lukewarm, although making lukewarm may also be a difference. The oil is very cold and disgusting, and now it's nice and warm. it's like lukewarm, maybe it's nice. No, that even I agree is not enough of a difference to define that as bishul. That's one explanation. Those of Shimon Gamliel. Oh, finally, of Shimon Gamliel with his idea of the shinui. What's that? He comes lamema. He comes to say shemen yesh bo mishum bishul ve'efsher zeu bishuloi. Wow, Rabbi Shimon Gamliel is more machmir. Rabbi Shimon Gamliel says this lady, she's not going to burn her hand, right? She wants the oil for her and her son to smear nicely, to be posher, to be nice and lukewarm, right? And that is bishul, and it's allowed b'shinui. What? You're not allowed to lechatchila do shinui nisur doraisa. Maybe only choyle shen b'sakona, sofik pikuach nefesh. So yeah, how come shinui is okay for isur doraisa? Says the Pnei Yoshua that I have to admit this on the booklet now. And he holds it to the Rabbanon. He holds it with the Rabbanon hefsher do b'shuloi, and Rabbanon may allow you sometimes to do their isurim b'shinui. Maybe the child needs it, whatever. That yes, Rabbanon allow. Now it continues. That was the first explanation of the Brisa. Now comes the second explanation, as we said before. Rav Nachman, yeah. He doesn't say anything. No, yeah, he doesn't voice his opinion. Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak Omar leisura, meaning that Tanakama believes that shemen is leisura, meaning shemen afal pi she'en yatzoledes boy, even though the oil reached less than yatzoledes boy through the fire, also it's not allowed, even though the osir is the rabbanon, as the Pnei Yoshua said. Kasover shemen yesh bo mishum bishul. Bishul applies to shemen. Ve'efshel zeh bishul amid the rabbanon. I'm adding the Pnei Yoshua. Tanakama is basically the same as Rab Shimon Gamliel. They say that if the oil becomes posher, becomes lukewarm, that's already also with the rabbanon. If it becomes more than lukewarm, if it's yad soledis boy, that's isur doraisa. But hefshel zeh bishul amid the rabbanon. Now, I've also been able to make hefshel lo zeh bishuloi. The Bible says no, mapitom, oil only when it gets to yad soledis is bishul, less than yad soledis, no. Also, B'Shim Gamliel lemeimar shemen yish b'mishum bishul hefshel zeh bishuloi. Rashbak says the same as Tanakama. Bishul applies to shemen, and if sheroi, once it's lukewarm, that's already called bishul, at least with the rabbanon. And the question is, Rashba Ganu Tanakama. So what's the difference between Shimon Gamliel and Tanakama? And we don't see Reb David argue about water, so maybe they say the same. Rashba Tanakama is saying the same. Why is he repeating the first opinion? And says the Gemara, Ikabena kelachar yad. Oh, Tanakama, the difference between them, Tanakama do not allow you to do it even lachar yad, b'shinui. But Rashbag did allow you to do it lachar yad. Rashi says, "L'tadkama filo de shinui also." I don't know if they think it's the Raisa or they think it's the Rabbanon, but the Rabbanon were stricter. I don't know. But the Maisa, they hold that if Sheru is Bishula really severely so, and even Bishinu is not allowed, well, he says Bishinu is allowed. Now comes the Maskono, Yikam da Amoyroim, and as far as I know, that's Halacha. We see a note here from the Shulchan Aruch. Omer Bido Omer Shmuel, this is an Amoyra talking afterwards. Echad shemen ve'echad mayim, both oil and water. Yad soledis by osu, and yad soledis b'huta. Life is good. As far as we know, that's halacha today. Yad soledis by the cutoff point. Yeah, I don't know. I hope you're in Israel long enough to speak in Celsius, because that's how I talk. 42, 43. Well, how much is yad soledis? 42, 43 degrees something in Celsius. Yeah, something like that. Over 40 is yad soledis boy. It's not the boiling point. No, it's not even when it's bubbling. It's way below. But it's already yad soledis. It's a point, yeah, we're not Yad Nichves. Yad Nichves, the Chayei Odom says, is different. And it's more mach. Yad Nichves, not that the hand gets scorched, the hand like retrieves. Like you can save yourself on time, kind of. Yeah, when you like touch the hot water tea, the hot tea to see it, your hand like, kind of pulls back automatically. By instinct, that's Yad Soledis boy. And if you got to that point, you are fried, excuse me, then it's bad that both water and oil, yeah, you should know, is a problem. Now, what is Yad Soledis boy? What's the question? Rashi says, some people are more finicky or more scared than others. Yeah, Rashi says, some people are soled from a little bit of hot, some from more. Different people, men, women, I don't know, yeah, boys, girls, I don't know. Some people are more scared cats, some no. So how can you measure that? Amar Rachva says Rachva, if the temperature is high enough for the baby's stomach, for a little baby stomach to burn, that by the average normal adult would be Yad Soledis boy. Why? What are we gaining by the tinok more than the adult? Says the Ritva. I saw the Ritva inside now. He says that by babies, it's one standard. I guess babies don't develop different psychological approaches. So I guess all babies know, like the American Constitution, all human beings were created equal, right? So all babies are mistama, 1 day old, 2 days old, before they have different environments, they're all the same. So by them, all their stomachs, they get nichve the same way. That's a biological thing. It's psychological. I think so. Right. Right. Very good. I still have many questions because how you're not going to test it on the baby. Nobody will take his baby to see if it's nichbus or not. And the mice, your hand does retreat. I don't know. There's another shear which I don't know who started it. It's the same temperature as the sick duck. The duck, yeah, the duck that has fever, and that's shear written somewhere else. I don't remember. Yeah, it's brought down in Sifra Halacha, and that's how they came to the conclusion of over 40 degrees, which is what sick people also over 38, 40. That's the Yatzalet. Again, I'm sorry. I told you this year is less prepared than I'd like to, but it's a Yatzalet. Weiter. Okay. Weiter. Omer Bitzchak bar Avdimi. Oh, this is a famous story. Oh, Kli Sheni. We only touched upon Kli Sheni a little bit before. Here comes the Gemara of Kli Sheni. And I would like to see Tosfos inside if we have time. Omer Bitzchak bar Avdimi. Yes, says Bitzchak bar Avdimi. One time I followed Rebbe to the bathhouse on Shabbos. Oh, how did Rebbe bathe himself in the bathhouse? Rashi already is telling us, don't scream. Rashi says, because it was Ber Samechet of Tveria. The only mechatz that was still allowed, because Chachamim saw it was too strict on people to forbid all Basar mechatz, so they kind of left out of the Gzera only Chametz Tveria or Chametz Tveria anywhere. Chametz Dash, there are Chametz Tveria all over the world, right? So these places were allowed, and Rabbi went to Chametz Tveria on Shabbos to have a bath on Shabbos, okay? Oinik Shabbos, I guess. Ubikashti, I wanted to help him, Talmud Chacham, Bikashti laniach lepach shel shemen be'ambati. I wanted to put a pach shel shemen. We have shampoo, we have conditioners. They had oil. I want to take the jug of oil and place it in the ambati, and that ambati was Kli Rishon. That bath was not like, we have a pipe that goes into the bath. The bath was mamish part of Chametz Tveria. It was mamish Kli Rishon from the original water from the ground. And I wanted to place the pach shel shemen in order to lahafshir. The oil was too cold. I wanted Rebbe to have nice time to smear himself with oil. And what did I do? I wanted to place the shemen, which was inside the pach, in the ambati, in the hot water, so it should warm up. Okay. Normally, he told me, that's a famous one, toil bekli sheni v'ten. Oh, he told me, no, don't put it in Kli Rishon, which is the bath. Take some water from Kli Rishon to Kli Sheni, from the bath to another Kli, and then in the Kli Sheni, that's where you should place the bottle of the oil. That's where you should put it. Shma mino tlas. There are 3 halachas, all are very important, that we learn from this incident, from this story. Shma mina shemen yesh bu mishu bishul. Okay, there was a debate. Yes. Shemen bishul applies to shemen. The shma mina kli sheni ein mevashel. Ooh, our entire lives revolve around that. Kli sheni does not cook. Kli sheni doesn't have the koch to cook. I know that there are many chumras which were already saw in Tosfos before, but conceptually, Kli sheni is not mevashel. You should know that before. Today, obviously, most people are machmir like the Magen Avraham, like the Mishnah Berurah. Kli sheni is mevashel many things, but there are people who are used to hold not like that before Mishnah Berurah became the posek. Yeah, Kli sheni meikar din doesn't cook except for kala bishul. Ishma minav shel zeu bishul. Oh, now this is not the halacha, but now we're going back to the opinion. He didn't want that oil to be steaming hot. He wanted Rebbe to enjoy the oil. He wanted the oil to be lukewarm, nice and From this incident, it's mashma according to Rebbe. The hefsher to bring in the oil into Kli Rishon, although I will take it out right after it's nice and warm, that would be considered bishul for oil, against what Shmuel said before. So now I'm debating big time. If you don't mind, we will not finish the Amud. We will not finish the Amud because the Amud of Tuesday is very short. So, okay, so we allow ourselves to. This Tosfos is a very, 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 very important Tosfos regarding Kli Sheni. I haven't seen it again, but I know about it. So let us look at Tosfos. Okay, look at this about kli sheni. And the question is the question everyone's asking: what's the difference? Are you serious? You pour the water, the hot soup from kli rishon to kli sheni. Are you making coffee on Shabbos? I do. So yeah, you have the coffee from kli rishon to kli sheni. Huh, what happened? You want to tell me kli sheni doesn't cook? What's the difference? It's steaming, it's hot. It's what's the difference? Frek toisves. V'shmam le kli sheni en mevashel. This toisves explains the reason kli sheni. Tema, ma'ashna kli sheni mikli rishon. What's the difference? What's the difference between kli sheni and kli rishon? Mima nafshach. Di yad soledes. If it's yad soledes from kli sheni, afli kli sheni nami, kli sheni should also be a problem. Yad soledes. The any yad soledes, afli kli rishon nami en mevashel. If it's not yad soledes, kli rishon is not mevashel. Yeah, your cholent pot or your soup pot, after it's been already cold enough to be warm, but not yet solid, it's not mevashel. So what's the difference? Answer to this is a big yesod. Yeshloimar. The fishy klirishon mitoch she'omad ala ur. Klirishon has stronger history than klishon. What's klirishon by definition? The one that was on the fire. That's the difference. That's what it means. The one that was on the fire, even now it's off the fire, but it was on the fire long enough to cook the whole thing. The fnois of chamin, the walls of that kli are hot. They're not stam hot. They've been heated for a long time and they mamish produce heat. And it holds on the heat for a very long time. Try it, and I tried it. It's true. Not that this needs my idea. You can make it an experiment. The kozman shat soledis boy osur nekli rishon. Aval klisheni afal gav the yad soledis boy muter. Klisheni, although yad soledis boy, it's allowed to put something in there. She'en defnois of chamin v'hoilechu miskarer. The klisheni, you want to race, make a marathon, a race, take kli rishon off the fire, pour some into kli sheni. The kli rishon, the heat will stay for much longer than kli sheni, because the heat, it's true that kli sheni is hot at the beginning of the story. But you want to run a race? You're welcome to. Try it at home. The kli rishon for a long time stays very, very hot. Yeah, Mashenkin kli sheni, which was never on the fire, it received the heat from kli rishon. It gets colder much faster. And because now, don't think now tea bag or coffee, which is takikala bishul. Think potato. How long does it take for potato to cook? I don't know, a long time. So it's pashat a race. The potato may cook before the kli rishon finishes to cool off, but it will not finish cooking the potato before the kli sheni. The kli sheni will cool down before the potato cooks in it. Tried and tested. That's kli sheni for you. That's a logic. Hence, now we understand why it's true what we all believe in nowadays, based on the Gemara we saw before, based on Magen Avraham, that before him, the Rambam, that anything that is kala bishul, something that cooks quickly, is also in kli sheni. Now we know why, because it wins the race. Tea bags, a tea bag in kli sheni, tea bag cooks very quickly before the kli sheni cools off. It wins the race. Very good. Potato or meat in kli sheni should be okay. I'm not saying lalacha, because before they cook, kli sheni will cool down. Kli rishon, I'm telling you from own experience, we serve the soup. I sometimes touch the soup, the what you call it, the pot of soup that my wife makes Friday night. Even after the whole meal, it's still very hot. It's still yatzoledis. Yeah, because it says for a long time. Kli sheni mapitom. Way less. It's a plate. The plate is kli sheni, or maybe the ladle. They get cooled much quicker. That's the answer. That's the name of the game. 5 more minutes? Yeah, no. That about what? About the yes. Very nice. That the water will cool down. Of course. Yeah, same idea. Thank you, Akiva. Yeah. In other words, what Rebbe told his helper, that Rabbi Yitzchak Ravdimi put the water in the kli sheni, because then they'll cool down. They'll cool down by being in kli sheni. Means they'll cool quicker. Right. Thank you. Now, frag the Gemara now. Heichi ovid hachi. Yeah, back to the Gemara. Now there's another issue. Rebbe was in a bathtub. I don't know how dressed he was. It's one problem. A bathhouse is not a place where we talk to the Torah. I can't start giving shir in the mikveh. Frag the Gemara. Heichi ovid hachi. How did you do that? You're allowed to be meharer in divrei Torah everywhere, chutz me beis hamechet beis hakiseh, Yeah, you're not allowed to think in divrei Torah. Yeah, in Beis HaMechatz, Beis HaKisa. Beis HaMechatz is also makom of tinoifes. It's not clean enough, not mechubed. Yeah, you're not allowed to think in Torah, right? Let alone to talk. In other words, maybe he didn't talk so much in Torah. He only told him put it over here. But Rebbe obviously was holding kop on the sugya. Rebbe was thinking about the sugya of Bishul as he was talking to his friend. How was he allowed to do that? The chitem of Eloshen choil. Maybe he spoke English. Okay, I don't know if he spoke English. Maybe he spoke in he not in Lashon HaKodesh. Maybe allowed to talk Torah or think in Torah when you think in English or in Aramaic. He used to speak Aramaic even in times of the Mishnah, by the way. So maybe that's okay. No. Lashon Chol Omar Lei. Maybe he told him in Lashon Chol. Zog Digmar, no, they won't help. V'Omar Abaye. V'om Shel Chol Mutar Lomod B'Lashon Kodesh. It depends on the content, not on the language. If it's divrei chol, you're allowed to say it b'loshen hakodesh, right? Yeah, can you say tenli es hashemen? Loshen hakodesh. You're allowed to say that, yes, because tenli et hashemen, the content is chol, is mundane, is not holy. But shel kodesh also learn shel chol. You're not allowed to say divrei kodesh even in loshen chol. You're not allowed to learn in English in the toilet, Torah, or in the bathroom, right? The bathtub. Answers the Gemara, the obvious answer, when you want to stop somebody from breaking a lo leinu, from sinning, that's allowed. Yeah, obviously, right? You want to stop him from doing Chilul Shabbos, then you're allowed to think and even talk and say, hey, Chilul Shabbos, don't do that. Teida, and I'll prove it to you. The Talmud of Rabbi Meir once came after him to the Beis HaMechatz. On Shabbos, he wanted to wash the floor, spanja, to do spanja on the floor in the karka. The Omer Loi and Rabbi Meir told him, "Ein madichin, you're not allowed to wash the ground. If you wash the ground, you may come to lahashvois gumos. You may come to level the ground. It's not allowed. That's why you're not allowed to do spanja on Shabbos, even without the shmata of unless it's very dirty or health or disgusting. You're not allowed to start sponging the floor even without the mop, because because it may come to level the ground in case where it's when it's made out of sand, when it's not tiled, when it's untiled. But that even in tiled we're going to, as opposed to sweeping. And then you say you're not allowed. He wanted to smear the ground with oil. You're not allowed to smear the ground, yeah, from either this or other reasons. Alma, one thing we see, sheni. You see that this whole business, don't do this, don't do this. That was when? There was, we're talking here on Shabbos. How did you speak Divrei Halacha in the bathroom, not in the bathroom? Here we see that to be mafrish misura, that is different. Yeah, you're allowed to say Divrei Torah in the toilet, in the bathroom, in the bathtub, wherever, as long as your only purpose is to stop somebody from breaking halacha. Just one more. One more thing we see from the story of Rebbe. You see that somebody who cooks in Chametz Tveria, which remember was an issue between Rabbi Yossi and Chachamim. If you cook in Chametz Tveria on Shabbos, you chayiv. As I told you before, how do you know Rebbe was in Chametz Tveria? Because we know historically the Rebbe went to the bath after they made the gzera of asering, of banning the basa merchatz, right? So the only place the Rebbe, as a rov, as a frum person, what was the only place allowed to him? On Chametz Tveria. And yet you see that Chametz Tveria, v'omerle, tul b'kli sheni v'ten. You see that he told him, do it kli sheni, mashma kli rishon, Chametz Tveria is called bishul. Eini, frag the Gemara, v'omer avchizda mevashel b'Chametz Tveria b'Shabbos potur. Yeah, it says no. It says somebody who cooks in Chametz Tveria on Shabbos is osur, but potur but osur. In other words, it's not the rice, only the rabbanon. And says the Gemara, "My chayiv nami dekoma makas mardus." Big chiddush. Chayiv doesn't mean chayiv doraisa. Chayiv means makas mardus. Makas mardus is a kind of malchus a person gets from breaking the rabbanon. So really, the issue of Chametz Tveria, according to what we're saying over here, is only the rabbanon, which is very interesting. This is something we have to look into, because if you remember, Rabbi Yossi said that Chametz Tveria chamei. Yeah, it's from Gehenim. Chachamim said it's chamei chama, not chamei. And usually chamei chama, told us chama is allowed with the rabbanon. And Chametz Tveria is also with the rabbanon, some kind of middle of the road, which we have to understand why. Because normal chamei told us chama is allowed. No, told us chama is not allowed. No, I'm talking nonsense. Toldos Chama is not allowed. Barabonon is not allowed. It's not allowed. Chama directly is allowed. Toldos Chama is not allowed. So Chama Tves, Toldos Chama, and that's what's also Barabonon. Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. Makes sense. Makes sense. Again, to cook in the Chama. One second. I'll hear in a second. To cook directly in the Chama is allowed because everybody can see that the Chama is cooking, the sun rays. But to take something that was individually, separately, exclusively heated in the sun, and then use it for cooking is not allowed. So chametver is like that. Chametver, it's not the sun itself. It's a chametver, how we define them. That's also from the rabbanon. Makas, it's not chayev. It's chayev makas mardus. You chayev only the kind of leshes that you get for the rabbanon, not for the raisa. The raisa, it's not. It's allowed. Okay, shkoyach.
Oh yeah.
Again, okay. Be'ezras Hashem, tomorrow will be better. Thank you very much. And tomorrow, tomorrow we have interesting about tznius, all kinds of things. And Mulyar, okay. And we're going to have a lot about Dovish and Miskavan, big Yisodis in 2 days' time. Be'ezras Hashem. Thank you. Hatzlacha u'bracha. Thank you very much to all of you. Hatzlacha. Thank you.